like, here you are.
And the thing is normally you have like the intro to give it just a couple of seconds for people to like come on because I don't want anybody to miss anything that you say.
Oh yeah, because everything that I have to say is going to be so pertinent tonight. I promise.
So important. So, I mean, from
Absolutely,
start to finish.
so important. Like all
As
of
a
it is
matter of
going to
fact,
be.
when we were in the back chat, I wish we were live the whole time.
Yes, exactly. Like yeah, it's going to be so poignant. In fact, like everything that I have to say, people should be hanging on every word. Damn it.
Every word, breath in between, and all.
That's right. That's right.
So thank you so much, Mr. Hurt, for joining me tonight.
Yeah, like I'm stoked to be here. Absolutely.
I'm excited. I'm happy. I'm happy that I met you through Darren, and I'm happy that I was on the show because I was like, this is awesome. I want to have him on.
Yeah.
You know, and it's funny because a couple of people along the way have always said, "Oh, you should have." I heard it like 2 or 3 times. Like, look up Josh Hurt, and I think that's when I friend requested you, and then because it came a couple of times, and I can't remember who, and I apologize. I do know
Sure.
Darren was one.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you're finally here with me.
I'm glad to. Like this is gonna be fun.
And you're on one of my special, like the Spooky Sunday. It's a special.
Oh, that's great.
You know?
I love that.
I had to do a special. Hi, Mario.
Hey, what's up?
So, for all of you watching that don't know this wonderful man that decided to spend an evening with Paranormal Brew,
yeah.
Can you please just like, I guess, start, how it all started for you, where you ended Paranormal, and then where you are now?
Yeah. I've always been that weird kid that was always into the weird spooky stuff. Like when my friends were reading like Berenstain Bears and crap in school, I was reading like the scary stories to tell in the dark. Yeah. Yep. I was that guy, right? I've always been fascinated with that stuff, right? And like it wasn't until like, I mean, gosh, I was probably like 12, 13 years old when I had a legitimate paranormal experience, what I would consider to be. And it was surrounding the death of my uncle who passed away quite young. And there's very odd things around his death that kind of got me asking like the bigger questions. And from there, it was like the works of Hans Holzer, Ed and Lorraine Warren, like all this stuff, and like reading parapsychological studies when you're 14, 15 years old, because who doesn't do that, right? Come on.
Right.
But like still, like that's really what kind of got me down the rabbit hole, right? And I have yet to, come back after that.
So was the experience surrounding your uncle, like, were you close with your uncle? Was he like
very close? Yeah, very close. And he died. I mean, he was only 31 years old when he passed away. He was quite young. Yeah. And so this, like, I was just at that age, right, where I'm just now able to understand the finality of death, and that he's not coming back. We're not going to have those moments that we shared before any longer. They're gone. Right. And I had a really hard time with that. And I remember specifically, we were gathered around my grandparents, his parents, their dining room table, which right off of their dining room was this staircase that led upstairs. And upstairs was really nothing but like just toys everywhere for all of us kids, And I remember specifically, we were listening to my grandfather describe my Uncle Todd's final moments. And this toy radio, one of those little plastic wind-up things that, you wind it up and it'll play a song for 30 seconds or whatever, came tumbling down the stairs. Nobody was upstairs, mind you. Nobody was upstairs. And this thing comes flying down the stairs. It slides right onto the floor, like right underneath this table, and starts playing Somewhere Over the Rainbow. And
wow.
That song anyway was, I mean, it was played at his funeral. I mean, like it was one of his favorite songs anyway. And so we all like just stopped and had this weird brief moment of silence and yet total understanding. Like that's him saying hello, right? And it was like the next day, like I had enough family time. I was, I lived only about a block away from Grandpa and Grandma's house anyway. So I was just at home away from everybody else, just needing to take some time. And I remember walking through the house and just immediately freezing and feeling like just completely frozen solid. and I smelled his cologne, which I don't even know what the name of that cologne was, if they still make it or whatever. It was quite distinct. And I'm like, that was him. Like, for sure, that was him. And hey, Katie. And I said his name. And then after I said his name, the smell left me and the hair returned to its normal place on my arms and back of the neck and all of that stuff. But for a moment there, I thought that was him. And that's what really got me. I mean, there's more to this than what we're privy to in this world. And that's what got me asking those bigger questions in life. And then ultimately, I mean, Christ, now here I am. You know what I mean? So yeah. So here we are. Yeah.
It's crazy because
hey, Kim.
I have a question. What do you think of that the version, the newer version that came out of that song? You know that song, but I can never say his name
with the ukulele though.
Yes.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Can I tell you something? So I'm gonna make it quick, but there's similarities here. One, mine started, I got into it the same when my dad passed. My dad was only 45.
Wow.
And 10 years to almost the day, my brother, him and his wife were pregnant, we're having a boy, and we're going to name him Denny after my father.
Wow.
She full term, last ultrasound, there was no heartbeat. So she had to deliver. And they buried him with my dad.
Oh,
so
wow.
we call him Baby Denny. But so at the funeral they played that song and we let balloons go.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So that song never really jived until that, because now I understand that, because when I hear that song, I think of my dad and I think of him. You know what I mean? I just think of that. So it's awesome that you brought that up.
Yeah, like it's one of those things where it's like there's certain songs that I just can't listen to. You know what I'm saying? Like if I hear that, I'm like, nope, listen.
Like 3 seconds and you're like,
unless I'm like by myself or whatever, I'm gonna start sobbing like a little chick with a skin knee. You know what I'm saying? It ain't happening. Like I don't want anybody to see this hot mess like when that starts happening. So yeah.
That's so funny. I'm the same way. Bottom lip starts quivering. You know, it's just like, of course, I never wear waterproof anything. So, my eye stuff is like everywhere.
That's what happens.
So obviously you acknowledged Uncle. Now, see, that's one thing, like you hear, it's like, oh, once you acknowledge them, then they go away. And it's like, I always try to ignore, if I think it's my dad, I'm always ignoring it, even though I'm not.
It's like, keep going.
Just come on, you know?
Just a little bit more, please.
So that's kind of like what happened. You acknowledged and then
it was gone. Yeah. And
have you had contact with them since?
No. I've been kicking myself in the ass ever since that day. You know what I mean? Because I want that. I want that. And like I said, there's just beautiful things like that happened. And it was like nothing happens by accident, in my opinion. You know? Oh, Jesus, Katie. Here we go. Because I was listening to you reading a paranormal investigating story and she said it was hot. Well, tell your sister thank you, Katie. Yeah, we're going to start doing a new genre, romantic novels in the paranormal. We'll call it like pornonormal. How about that? We'll do that. That's nice. What we'll start, the new genre of everything.
So I want to start this. I started this thing. I kind of like, all right, my mind's always in the gutter. I think like a guy of 6 brothers.
I get it.
Right?
I get it.
So I did start it, but I didn't start it. You know, like I made it. I did it around the letters of, so porn. So it would be P.O.R. So Paranormal Organization and Research Network.
That's awesome. Yes.
But I started out with porn. I said, how can I incorporate this?
How do we do this? Yes.
And not for any other reason, but for a mere like 7-year-old immature laugh every time I see a joke. You know what I mean? Like it would be legit. Like the same says coming to a residential near you.
That's perfect. See, that's perfect. God, that's hilarious. Oh my God, I love it.
I want to do it, and everybody's like, people are going to take that the wrong way.
Maybe. Maybe. You know, it's funny though. Some people won't even acknowledge it. Some people won't even get it until it's far too late. You
Right.
know, it'll be great.
So it's on my page, but it's there. I haven't done anything with it. I just
Oh,
kind of
that's hilarious.
it's sitting there.
I freaking love that. It's so funny.
Oh,
Oh my God, I love it.
mine so they got her. Yes. Oh,
Oh,
thank
see,
you.
there you go. Yeah,
Well,
perfect.
I don't know. Creativity. Like I don't even have that.
I
No.
love that stuff. But yeah,
So, um, so you haven't smelled the cologne?
not since. I'm one of those weird guys too. So like, I will literally, you'll find me at like department stores and things like that, just at the cologne counter, like just sniffing, ravenously sniffing,
Yeah.
and just I've never been able to find it. You know, I don't know like what it
So
is.
yeah, it's crazy because they do have distinct smells, and some of them, like my
Mhm.
father wore Stetson,
Oh, that's
and
oh my God, yeah, yeah,
right. So nobody wears Stetson anymore,
I
do
get
they?
it. Yeah, no, I
Do
get it.
they?
So, like, it's funny that you say that too, because like I associate my father with Old Spice and cigarettes, like the two combined, and
Right,
it's like this beautiful smell. You know what I mean? I love
right,
that smell.
right.
So
Like
yeah.
I remember my dad getting ready because not only did he have the cologne, he had the
Mhm.
aftershave, he had the, you know what I'm saying, and so it was all there.
It's
So
funny. My
I it
dad's
would
literally calling me right now too. That's
that's so
funny.
funny.
That's hilarious.
But
That's
that
weird.
smell would wake me up in the morning, every morning, and so I
Oh
knew he was
wow.
getting ready
Yeah.
for work, you
Yeah.
know, so I'm always like, because I smell that cologne, and, my stepmother's a little bit of a pack rat. I say that lovingly,
Sure.
thankfully, because I am not even kidding you. We cleaned out our house,
Yeah.
and we had about 4 bottles of these,
Nice.
so I was
That's
like,
awesome.
"I'm gonna have one," so I could just open
Yeah.
it every once in a while and smell.
Just get a little whiff. That's all you need. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Ah, it's perfect.
So that's what, anyways, let's get back to you. Enough about me. Um, enough about me. um, so you have this experience and then you get into it.
Yeah.
Um, Now did you join a group? Did you start a group or did you just kind
You
of do
know,
one thing?
it was weird. Like I didn't do anything except study and read and all that. And it's weird too, because like I'm here in like small town Iowa. Nobody knew I was into this period at
Right.
all. Nobody.
Right.
And I never told my friends like, oh yeah, I'm going out to cemeteries and things like that. Right. Um, oh, that's awesome, Katie. Yeah. Um, but I know like when I went to college, I found that like-minded group of people.
Yeah.
And that's when, yeah, I started a club. And it was right at that same time when like Ghost Hunters was just coming out.
Right.
Um, so all of that stuff. So I'm like, oh shit, like this is perfect. Like these guys are like plumbers, you know what I mean? Come on.
Yeah.
Like we can do this. And so we saw
Yeah.
like 4 episodes of Ghost Hunters and thought we knew everything there was to know.
Exactly.
You know what I
Same
mean?
path.
Yeah.
I thought I did. I was same path. Same path for me.
So, yeah. I mean, it's just we were young and naive and we had no idea, you know, what we
No
were
idea.
really doing. And we were just I mean, I said, oh yeah, we were paranormal investigators. We were thrill seeking more or
Right.
less, like really
Yeah.
until we got
Enthusiast.
to yes.
I always called myself. I said when I was a paranormal enthusiast, I was running around in cemeteries. I had no idea what I was doing. I was
Exactly.
like, ignorance is bliss. Really worked out in my favor for this one.
Bingo. Bingo. It's
You know?
it's so weird, but yes, I mean, and it like I said, so it wasn't really until college that I started like what I would consider to be actively investigating and then kind of morphing and shifting and people would leave the group and join the group, but then we found that core group of people
Yeah.
where we wanted to help others, you know, and then that was when it got really good and
Yeah.
fun and we were legitimately helping people.
Yeah, and that's awesome.
Oh
It's
my
just
God.
such a good when you're doing something you love, and then there's this like reward at the end of it.
Yeah,
People are always like, "You don't pay for that." And I'm like, you don't charge people for that." I'm like, "No,
not at all.
the reward is helping people." And
Yeah.
you know,
I think the most I've ever been paid for a paranormal investigation was 2 slices of pizza, if I'm being honest. I
yeah,
mean, seriously, people have offered, you
oh
know,
yeah,
gas money even up. Hell no. Absolutely not.
Yep. I mean, we've gone to some houses and they would have like spreads out. There's like crackers and
Yeah.
cheese and stuff
Yeah.
like that. You know, people are so nice, you know,
Very
but
much so.
you know, um, so college, you started your group, so now you find your core group.
Yes. And then it's
Okay.
like, it was one of those things where it's like we bit off way more than we could chew, if I'm being honest. Like it was right around Halloween, and that's obviously when like the newspapers start to run the spooky stories of the area, right? And I was attending college at Northwest Missouri State University in Maryville, Missouri, and they ran this story in the paper, and I had never heard of this place, but it was this old abandoned chapel about 10 miles out of town, and it was just like a single, like a one room building. It looks more like a barn. It had a giant opening in the front, 2 windows on each side, and 3 in the back, but one room, you know.
Right.
And the building itself fell into disuse in the 50s. But regardless, there was all these claims of activity, and so we went out there for 4 consecutive nights. Ended up again biting off way more than we could chew. Things that ghost hunters hadn't covered yet, because it ultimately took the work of a priest to rectify all of this stuff. Like, this was negative, nasty, dark stuff, and we had no idea what we were doing.
And this was after you're talking about the house.
I was just talking about the chapel itself.
chapel.
I mean, I'm still in college, you know. At this
Oh,
point,
yeah.
so I
Okay.
had
So go
no
ahead.
idea.
Right.
But I mean, from that experience, you know, it really opened my eyes just to the point where it's like, there are things out there that do not wish us well. The majority of the time we're ghost hunting or whatever, we're interacting with great grandma, you know
Yeah,
what
I
I
always
mean,
say
or
Casper.
whoever.
I'm good with
Yes,
Casper.
exactly. But there is a very small percentage of that time where things are happening and it's like something else entirely is pulling the strings here.
Yeah.
And it's almost like it's 5 steps ahead of you at all times.
Mhm.
And it's terrifying. And that's ultimately what then started me writing books and like writing down the account of that, which I never intended to be like an author or anything like that, but it was more of a therapy session, right? Let me
Right.
just put this out and see what happens. And from that, that's when I started making films and turning that story into a documentary film where people can witness what happened, see and hear what actually happened, and then watch that core group of investigators go back one last time just to put this to bed and put
Mhm.
it behind us. I mean, that was basically the premise of like my first film. And I mean, good Lord, though, like, remember how I said, like, nothing is coincidental, really. Like,
Right.
everything
For
seems to
sure.
happen for a reason, for whatever reason that may be.
Mhm.
So the first night of filming, A Brush with Evil, right? The first night of filming, we were to be filming at this local establishment in Malvern, Iowa, that was called the Classic Cafe. And they have their own slew of paranormal happenings. And they were kind enough to say, come on in, bring your cameras, whatever. Now, I didn't realize there's a bar that's attached to the Classic Cafe. And this was also a Friday night. And
Oh.
apparently it had been a pretty rough week for a lot of people because the boy, they were really tying one on. But I'm telling you,
At which point you're like, why am I
oh
doing
God.
an investigation? I want to be
Yep.
over there on
Yeah,
that side.
exactly. Right. But it was so weird because like we could not investigate, period. No way.
Right.
Noise contamination was through the roof. And so we're like, well, I went outside and I was smoking what I call my angry cigarette because I was like, well, night one is screwed. This is my first film. Why am I even doing this? And then I learned very quickly, like, filmmaking is just 98% problem solving. And sometimes things just work out. And there was a gentleman standing over there in the beer garden area. And he goes, hey, dude, what's with all the cameras? And I'm like, oh, crap. You know, like, this guy's either going to think I'm caca duty shit crazy, or he's going to
Right.
think this is fairly cool. And I told him what we were up to. And he was like, oh, man, that's kind of far out. He goes, you know, I don't really believe in this stuff. However,
Everybody has a however.
everybody's got the however, right? And if that didn't happen to them, it happened to somebody they know, right? But everybody's got that story.
Except Kenny Biddle.
Except for Kenny. But we love Kenny.
Kenny
We
doesn't
love
want that,
Kenny.
however.
We love Kenny. And for everything that Kenny brings to the field because it's healthy.
Yeah,
I love that.
absolutely. See, I
I
said it
love
first, Kenny.
that. There it is. That was perfect. Um, so yeah, so he was telling me about this place that he owned. He attempted to live inside of this building, and he said, "Oh yeah, it used to be a hotel, and then it used to be a nursing home, and then after that, it became a group home for mentally handicapped people." Right?
Mhm.
He goes, "The place is like 10,000 square feet." He goes, "Again, I don't really believe in this crap, but I sure as hell can't explain it away." I said, "Where is this place?" And he's like,
Yeah.
"Just right there across the street." I was like, "Pretty sure you and I just became best friends." You know what I mean? Like, geez, dude, like, give me a break, right?
Yeah.
And so he was kind
Wow.
enough to say, "Come on in. Like, let me show you around the place." And he gave us a very
Wow.
broad
That's
stroke
so awesome.
history. Oh my God. So literally,
Normally you gotta wait for, like, in your whole time in your head, they're talking, and you're like, "When can I
like
how
where?
can I just slide in the question like, 'Hey, can I
Oh,
come something?'" Like, you have to
crazy.
ask, right? You're stressing about it. But
Exactly.
for somebody to say, "Hey, come on over."
Yeah. And he was
That's cool.
very welcoming, very kind about this. And so it's weird, right? So like looking back now on my first film, the first 10 minutes of that film is quite literally us stumbling upon what we would one day then call Malvern Manor. Like
Mhm.
that was my introduction that we captured on film to that building, this building that I'm sitting in right now. So
Right.
again, things I've stopped believing in coincidence like entirely.
Yeah. I mean,
Um
because and that's like so you go in there, right?
mhm.
You guys walk around, and how do you go from being invited to just walk around and check the place out to owning it?
Oh God. Okay. So yeah, that was weird. So that gentleman's name was Quincy. It got to the point where I was like infatuated with the building, the history, all that. And I was like, I would call Quincy up just on a random night or whatever. Hey Darren, what's up? Um, but it was like I would be like, hey man, can I have the keys to the house tonight?
Mhm.
He'd be like, yeah, dude, I don't care. And so I'd run by his house and he would hand me the keys and I would always hand him $100 bill. Always, no matter what. Here, thanks for letting me do this, right?
Yeah.
I might be there for 2 hours. I might be there for I don't know, 5, 6, 7, 8. Who knows?
Was he
Um,
did he live in on the
he lived
property?
right he lived right next door. So it
Okay.
was super easy.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, that went on for a while and I was like, dude, look. I'm like, I don't think you understand like what you have here, right? Like us in the paranormal community, we see like haunted venues, haunted locations, and I'm like, dude, people will pay you money to stay the night here. Very similar to what I'm doing right now. I'm just giving you cash. And he's like, really? I'm like, absolutely. I'm like, listen, I'm like, I will tell people the history of the place. I will check them in. I will make sure that they sign a liability waiver of some sort. I will collect the cash and run it directly next door to you. Nothing. Do not pay me a dime, period. I just want to share this
Yeah.
with people, right?
Yeah.
And like honestly, like it was super weird. Like it ran like that for like, I mean, probably 5, 6 months, you know?
Now did you do, like, overnights and stuff like
Yeah.
that, or did
So
you just do
all these people were doing overnights. We never did tours or anything like that. It was just come in, check in, I'll show you around, and I'm gonna wish you the best of luck as I head home.
and what year
And
was that?
oh God. I mean, that was probably 6, 7 years ago now at this point.
Okay.
Um, so yeah. It ran like that for 5 or 6 months. And then he called me one day and he said, I got a new job and I have to leave the area. I'm selling my house. I'm selling the manor. I'm selling literally everything. And I'm sorry, but that's life just happened, you know?
Right. Right.
And I said, okay, give me 3 weeks just to just please, like, let me figure some crap out, please. Pump the brakes for a minute. Give me 3 weeks and we'll figure something out. And luckily, we were then able to let the building continue to do what it was doing because like word was finally getting out,
Right.
right? There's this weird haunted place in Malvern, Iowa, which nobody had ever really heard of before. And like people are experiencing legitimate things and people are walking away scratching their heads. And I'm like, this is perfect. Um, and that's when I mean, shit, like I mean, Nick Groff was, on his way. to film Paranormal Lockdown, which ultimately put us on the map. So to speak.
So okay, so that's how you met Nick.
That was the first time that I
Okay.
met Nick. Yeah.
So they
So and
so
actually,
so people started so then they were contacting you saying, "Hey, can we come out?"
what happened, it was kind of weird. So, like, I was like a kid with a new toy, if I'm being honest. Like, I wanted
Yeah.
to show off to my buddies. And so, one of the first people I called was my friend Johnny Hauser, who runs Velisca, the Velisca Axe Murder House.
Okay,
And
yeah.
so, I called Johnny and I was like, dude, you got to get your ass over here. Like, you got to check this out. So, Johnny goes just walking around. I said, I'm going to be out back smoking. Take your time. Just walk
Wait,
around.
Kenny
Let me
wants to be invited.
Hey, Kenny, I'm telling you, brother, anytime, please, please, please come. I would love that. Again, like I really think that's what the field is lacking is a healthy level of skepticism.
Mhm.
Not cynicism or anything like that, but I mean skepticism, true skepticism.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I called Johnny and he came over, he walked around for maybe 45 minutes and then he bolts out the back door. And he looks like, I mean, like he's scared out of his God blessed
Yeah.
mind, right? And I
I've
was like,
seen that once in one part. Like,
yeah,
they look like they saw a ghost. Like that. I
exactly.
will
Like his
never
eyes
forget.
are just giant. He's like, what the hell? And I'm like, what's up, man? And he was like, dude, that was messed up. Like he got bum rushed by a shadow figure in
Mhm.
the place, And I was like, yeah, like I told you, things like that happen. And like it's always when you're obviously least expecting it or what have you, but literally on his way home is when he called Nick. He called
Mhm.
Nick. He goes, you need to get your ass to Iowa, like now. And that was it. So then I get a Facebook message from Nick, and I thought it was an imposter. I thought it was a fake account.
Right.
And
Right.
I,
Right.
I didn't answer Nick back for 5 days. And Johnny got a hold of me. He's like, so didn't Nick Groff reach out to you? I'm like, some asshole claiming to be Nick Groff did. I haven't messaged you. He goes, no, that's Nick. You should probably message him back. I'm like, oh crap. Like I felt like a complete ass. Yeah. So that's how that happened.
Right.
But yeah, so I mean, that was, the first time, like I said, the first time meeting Nick. I mean, the first time being on like network television and any of that crap, like you
Yeah.
always wonder what's going to happen, like how much of this is true. Like, do they really lock themselves inside of a building for 72 hours, or do they have a cush hotel somewhere that they're maybe going to sleep and shower and it just looks like they're tired and all that
Yeah.
stuff? But it was a breath of fresh air to like have Nick and Katrina both here because guys, I was around the whole time and they never left. They never left. And that made me feel good that they weren't BSing people. You know what I mean? And so
Mhm.
I was like, that just added a whole new level of integrity for me, you know?
For them, because yeah,
Yeah,
for
because
them.
I was like, I didn't know what to expect with any of that. I'm like, how much of this is actually real? And I was fully prepared to have my entire world crushed,
Mhm.
like, and just be like, yeah, it's all crap. But it wasn't like it was pretty amazing seeing that. So yeah.
Um, Kay said, "How did you meet Chad Lindberg, your G Crew co-host?"
So Chad, it was funny, like Chad and I were on VidiSpace both at the same time, and we both got booked at the Kansas City Paracon in Kansas City, Missouri. And so I knew like Chad was going to be there and I was going to make it a point to walk up to him and just introduce myself and blah, blah, blah. I mean, but we hit it off. Like it was fun, like between Hauser and him and me, like, oh my God, like it was really cool. And then of course we
Yeah.
all had the mutual friend in Nick,
Right.
and like G Crew just kind of happened.
Yeah.
Like that was the last phone call I was ever expecting to get. And it was from Hauser, who doesn't call anybody. And so I thought somebody had died. Like it
Right.
was one of those things. I was like, oh shit. Like Johnny's calling me. Like, what happened? It's like, oh my God. And yeah, he was like, hey man, what are you doing? I'm like, nothing. And he was like, are you good for like a conference call in 5 minutes? I was like, okay, sure. He goes, just make sure you answer the phone. Okay, sure. And it was Nick and Chad and I mean and Johnny and then me. And they asked me if I wanted to be a part of this. And I'm like, Absolutely. Like, duh, of
Yeah.
course. And Katie,
Why did you even call me? You should
yeah,
have just answered
exactly.
for
Like,
me. You should
duh,
have just
yeah,
answered for me.
just set it up. Yeah.
Just do it. Tell me what I'm doing.
And that's just it. Katie like makes a good point. Like it came at a weird time. Like this was just before the pandemic hit that we decided, oh yeah, we're gonna do this. And
Mm-hmm.
I already have all this weird equipment over here that we could do this in a professional manner and have fun with it and all of that and adopt my alien friend Mitch over here, you know, to be the fifth member of the G crew. But
Mm-hmm.
like it helped us
Well,
all.
you probably need a female.
So we do have a female. We do. Mitch has
Oh,
a
damn it.
girlfriend. So yeah, Mitch has a girlfriend. Her name is Michelle, and she is just as feisty and foul mouthed as Mitch. So yeah, we have a lot of fun with that. Michelle got a crush on Chad and ended up moving to Chad's house. So that's
Oh,
now where she's at. So yeah,
all right.
we have some fun with that. What's up?
Wait. But Katie spells it. It looks like Mitchell. So like,
Oh,
like
Michelle. Yeah, I get it.
right?
Yeah.
It's Mitchell. It's a
Mitchell.
guy's name.
You're like, what?
Mitchell.
Who's
Michelle.
Mitchell?
I like it.
It's
That's
funny.
cute. That's
Yeah.
cute. So now, I mean, are you still doing everything? Still, how are you doing everything?
So yeah, like I'm
I
still
don't do half of that.
I
I don't know.
mean, we're still like writing books. I think I'm up to 9 books now. I've done 17 or 18 now documentary films.
That's awesome.
Yeah, like I've been a part of more, obviously, but yeah. Just got done filming with Chad Kalick, which was interesting to me because I mean, really watching like Chad Kalick's earlier documentaries and things like that is what made me want to progress into the field of, you know, like filmmaking.
Mm-hmm.
And so then getting a phone call from Chad asking if I wanted to work on a project with him was full circle for me. You know,
Yeah.
it was a very humbling thing
Mm-hmm.
for me. And I, you know, it was awesome. It was cool.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, so like filmmaking is really my focus and drive now. Doing weird experiments here at Malvern Manor. That's the other thing that I love to do.
What's your favorite so far that you've done?
So I have this buddy Paul, and Paul is what I call the mad scientist or the wizard. And Paul just creates things. Like he just makes toys. And his biggest focus is like audio stuff, which I'm a big fan of audio. And so he created this box.
Me too.
And he creates this box and he was like trying to explain it to me. I'm like, Paul, like just pump the brakes, bro. Like you're gonna have to explain this to me like I'm 5 because I don't know what you're saying, right? And basically what it's doing is just listening at the noise floor and it's just spitting out real-time responses, right? The thing is it's not pre-programmed with any type of phonetic generator. It doesn't have a built-in word bank. It's quite literally just pulling from the atmosphere around it. And so it fascinated me because I'd never seen anything like that, especially to this caliber, because this thing is going to pick up a mouse fart in the basement. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so what really sent me over the edge was the fact that he had set up the box at the end of this very long hallway that we have over here. And he had just a static cam setting up about midway through the hallway. And you can see Paul clearly in the shot and he's doing his thing. And then at the end, he just says, "Thanks, guys. I appreciate your time tonight. Thanks for talking with me, blah, blah, blah." This is where it hit me because on the camera audio, it picks up an EVP that says, "No, stay." Right?
Mm-hmm.
And 40 feet away, that box triggers and spits out the same EVP. "No, stay." Same pitch, same timbre, same.
But it was 40 seconds later.
No, 40 feet distance.
It was at the same time.
But about 4 seconds of a thing. 'Cause what the box does is it takes in the information, records it, and then spits it out real time. So there was about 4 seconds of a delay there.
A delay. Wow.
But oh my God. So I was like, dude, like, what are you doing? So we're playing around with that quite a bit. And now he's added all sorts of bells and whistles and things like that to it to kind of clean it up a little bit, and different things like that. But it's very fascinating what he's working on. So we're filming that a lot. No, Kenny, it's not available online yet. Not yet.
But it will be.
It certainly will be. Yeah. I just want Paul to be comfortable with, like, Paul is not in this to make money. He doesn't want to mass produce any of these things or anything. Like, he just wants to progress the research, the field of research, really. And so I really respect that. And so again, I just want him to feel comfortable with anything before I throw it out anywhere. So yeah. I can probably get that to you if you'd like, Kenny. I can certainly, I'm meeting with him later this week, so I absolutely will talk to him about that for sure. But yeah, absolutely.
Did you ever see Ron Iacovetti and Lourdes Gonzalez, how they do the DRV, the direct radio voice?
Oh, I haven't seen that yet. No.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
You have to check it. Go on. They have a Gonyak Paranormal, or they do their show. It's like Entity Voices Paranormal. But
yeah.
I went and I investigated Kreischer Mansion with him, and I made him describe it live because
cool.
Or how it works and everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because he has told me probably a million times, it just doesn't. It's not sponging to me. You know what I mean? I love doing it because I love EVPs. It's my favorite thing. But you have to check that out. It's so cool what they do. They post all their like stuff that they get and everything through it. And then, like I said, like there's stuff where he like explains everything, but you got to, and then try it. Like he tells.
I love that.
It's so cool.
I love that stuff. See, anything that's pushing the envelope, like anything that's going to progress the field in some way, because I love what we do. You know what I mean? Like, I absolutely love what we do. And it's not that it's grown stagnant or stale, but it kind of has, right? Like, it's like, damn it. Like, okay, like there's only so many pieces of equipment with flashy lights and sounds that I can handle, right? Like, what I want is a ghost to walk up to me and shake my effing hand. That's
I know, right?
Okay.
Right? Wouldn't we all
love? Yes.
But then what would we do? We'd be bored.
Oh my God. Yes. And then we wouldn't have anything to do. We would have the answers, right?
Although you never stop learning or searching, no, it would be like right. It would be like, oh, there's one. I want another one.
Yes, exactly.
It would never be good enough.
See, and that's the issue for me anyway. That is the issue. Like, I think, and I've always thought this, like right out of the gate, we're always going to have the cards stacked against us because what we do and the scientific method do not mesh, period.
I know.
There's no repeatability. There is no repeatability. There is no controlled environment whatsoever. In fact, quite the opposite.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there's
every environment. Yeah.
It's like we are in dilapidated buildings. Like, I've started to call this suspended decay, right? Because we keep the building as structurally sound as possible, but we haven't touched the guts of the place, right? So it's exactly how it was when I first walked in there that night that I was describing it to you. That's like awesome. I want people to experience it how I did. And I'm more interested in the history and correlating data than I am with anything else, you know?
That's like, cool. That's always
cool. Love that stuff. It's like, and here we are, the better part of a decade into this, paranormal playground. And I don't know if I have any more answers than I ever did when I started.
Yeah. So. I mean, for me personally, I'm not trying to prove anything to anybody. So like for me, I believe it because I've had the experiences. I get this stuff, I'm not trying to prove anything. So for me, definitely it's not about competition. It's not about doing anything like that. I just love to investigate and I love to help people. And I love doing Paranormal Brew. This is like another part of it that I love.
So like there was something weird that happened last night that I would love to share. Again, like nothing happens. Like there's no such thing as coincidence. And I had literally said that to this group. We had an event last night here and we had about 20 attendees or so. And I had just got done walking them around the building. And this jacked me up. Like, I'm still processing this. I was going to make a Patreon video about this, and I haven't even done that yet, because I'm trying to figure out the best way to present this, because nobody's going to believe me.
Right. Well,
After I got done, like showing everybody around, and we chatted for a minute, and then the organizers of the event came up to me and they said, "Hey, there's 4 people outside that want a tour." And I'm like, it's like 8:00 at night. Like, we close at 3. You know what I mean? I'm like, we're closed, dude. And it was, they were like, I don't know. Like, they were like, well, I mean, you could show them around if you want. I'm like, it's your event. Like, I have no problem showing somebody around. I love talking about this place. You know, I'm like, what really hit me was then they said, well, this lady claims that she used to live here.
Oh.
What? Now, what I do know of Malvern Manor is that it was built in 1869. It ran as a hotel till 1950s. And then at that time became the nursing home. And then in the 70s became the group home for mentally handicapped people, and then closed in 2005. That's what I know. What she was claiming is then October of 2005, her dad, her mom, her daughter and son all moved into this place and lived here. I had never heard this story.
So, but did they buy it?
They did.
And there wasn't record. There was no sale.
I had nothing. I had nothing. So this took me off guard. And at first I'm like, no, you didn't. You know what I mean? So like, whatever. It was very odd. She walked me around. She told me, yeah, my father passed away right here. Like, this happened, this happened, this happened. But yeah, like,
wow, that had to be awesome. And to get some history, like to get somebody that lived there.
She filled in a lot of gaps, you know, and answered some questions that I had, like very specific questions that I was asking and all this stuff. Like, apparently my studio that I'm in right now, like, used to be her bedroom. I'm like, amazing, cool.
So crazy.
And yeah, like my office now, which is just down the hall, that used to be her daughter's room and all this stuff. So then she gets done showing me around and I'm just like on her, like, you know, stink on crap. And we go outside and we're having a cigarette. And I go, God, this is just amazing. I'm so glad that you decided to knock on this door tonight. You know what I mean? And she was like, yeah, it was amazing. She's like, I wanted to do this for years. And I'm like, well, I'm certainly glad that tonight was the night. And I said, just out of curiosity, where do you live? And she says, oh, I'm still in the area. I live in a small town called Randolph. I go, that's interesting because Randolph's about 10 minutes away from here. That's my hometown. And I said, that's cool. I used to live in Randolph. She goes, really? Where? I go, this cute little house just a couple down from the park. I go, it had this cute little brown wraparound porch. And she goes, was it 30? I go, 305 East Randolph Street. She goes, that's my house.
Stop. So you guys like basically switched houses.
Swapped them.
That's so you did house swap.
We just swapped them.
And what are the chances?
I couldn't tell you if I tried.
What are the chances? Here she is. She's just coming up like, oh, can I walk through my old house?
Right. And that was it.
I want to walk through. I've done that. I've gone to go walk through my old houses and stuff.
It's like, it's so weird. So, I mean, like after that, I was like, just jaw gaping open, right? Like, what the hell just happened? And it was to the point where I was like, just so blown away. I was like, can I just like give you a hug? Like, oh my God.
Like, what are the chances of that?
Bizarre. Like, absolutely bizarre.
That's so crazy.
Yeah. Thank God the group that was here.
Yeah.
This one dude was just following us around with a GoPro the whole time. So he filmed the whole damn thing.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
This is awesome. So yeah. So I'm putting all that together for Patreon right now. So it's, again, like nobody's gonna believe this stuff, you know, but
that's so great.
Oh my God. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe this shit. So yeah.
That's an amazing story.
Yeah, like it was weird. Like how I don't know. Like how weird and just happenstance that happened to be.
Yeah, see, and those things I believe like there's something that brought that to fruition.
Yeah.
Something brought that to fruition. And it makes you think like maybe you got to sit back and be like, you know, was I always supposed to be a part of this?
Right. Like it's very odd to think about that. Yeah.
You keep in contact with her?
Yeah, absolutely. And so like I'm going to, you know, I'm going to go knock on her door, you know, pretty soon and show her my old room and all that fun stuff. But
That's
yeah,
so awesome.
it was just nuts. It was.
It is. My brain, I would still be like, I can't believe that happened.
Yeah,
You know, in
that's
my
yeah.
head.
I'm like, this is gonna take me a minute to process for sure.
Right.
So I was like,
For sure.
God
It's
dang.
going to take me a minute to process. I can't
But
imagine. It's probably going to take you a lot longer.
it was so weird. It was so weird.
There is a couple questions.
Oh yeah.
Really, you know, I don't want to ignore everybody. I told everybody I was starring them so I could go back and ask.
I ramble sometimes, guys. I'm sorry.
No, I like rambles. I ramble too.
The freakiest place I've ever investigated. Gosh dang. Jesus. Yeah, there's a really cool place in Pennsylvania called Hillview Manor that
Oh, sorry.
really,
I did that by accident.
that really got me pretty good. So yeah.
Really? I want to go there. I haven't been there yet.
Okay, Richard, you son of a
What did that one I just put up?
Richard, yeah, Richard.
I know. I'm sorry, Richard.
He goes, what's the better movie, Young Guns or Young Guns 2, Blaze of Glory? So Richard has this long like thing now. Like ever since Richard first wrote a book about Malvern Manor, he said that I look like Kiefer Sutherland from Wish.com. And definitely a better soundtrack on the second one, Kenny. Yes. But yeah, so I don't see the Kiefer Sutherland thing, but other people do. And so he likes to jab me every once in a while, like with all that stuff. So yeah, well, it's fun.
That's interesting.
That son of a bitch. This long thing. Why? Thank you. Look, I meant a long running joke. That's what I meant. And never mind. Just never mind. We got too many jokes now.
It always manages to go down that, you know, it does. It does. Why not?
Mr. 24. My God.
You have a lot of fans, Josh. Have you had any strangest fan experiences?
I have, definitely. I mean, I guess not really necessarily when I've been doing like this paranormal stuff or whatever. Way back in the day, like I was in a band and we did a lot of touring and all that fun stuff. And yeah, like the things you receive in the mail, that was pretty odd, you know, things like that. So yeah, I mean,
thank God there was no direct messaging back then.
There was.
No, I'm kidding.
I've never been on I've never was able to do the AIM or anything like that. So yeah.
Yeah.
ASL. Yeah. It's like,
let me see, where are we at here? Hold on. Sorry. Josh, I've seen you investigate a building. You take it like a champ, but what has had you spooked?
Yeah, I get spooked a lot. I mean, if I'm being honest, but I think it's just I'm jumpy. You know, I'm really jumpy. It's like, yeah, you're not really expecting it to happen. So when it does happen, you're like, oh Jesus. And then I get all like excited about it too.
Right.
I get stoked sometimes when things are going on and I just want it to keep happening. And it's like, oh, yeah, here we go.
Yeah.
But
well, yeah, because half the time when you realize or you feel like you know what happened, you realize what happened, it's over with. It's like 5 seconds. You're like,
exactly,
because your mind just automatically goes like, okay, was that this? Was it this? Was that? No. Oh my God.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, you know, Katie, in all honesty, like, yeah, like doing like the Workman's Chapel stuff that I was talking about earlier, like that was a different feeling entirely, where it was almost like walking into that place, like just felt wrong. Like when you were a child and you literally got yelled at by your mom or dad because you got your hands stuck in the cookie jar type of thing. And you knew you weren't supposed to be effing around with that, but they just caught you. You're like, oh shit. You know, like I just got caught.
Right.
It was like, it's like that. Like, it was like, I'm not supposed to be here.
Right.
That's what it felt like. Now, for the majority of haunts and things like that, it's like, it doesn't feel like that. It's like, oh yeah, you feel spooked out, you feel creepy or whatever, but not like that. You know,
yeah. There was this one time I was listening to audio. Justin Bamforth, his name is. He's an author, but he like researches like Men in Black experiences and stuff like that with people.
Fascinating.
It is, and there were phone calls that somebody received. One of his cases, and he has these phone calls. They were recorded and they play, and he sent them to me, the link, because I was going to have Justin on. We were going to talk about them, and I felt I felt like I was listening to something I wasn't supposed to be listening to.
Yes.
And I felt like I was intruded, but I couldn't stop listening.
Like it's wrong, but you just, yes, I know exactly the feeling you're describing. Yes, that's it.
And that's the only time that's ever happened to me. But I couldn't stop listening. And I was just like, I feel like I shouldn't be hearing, like, this isn't for me. Like, I shouldn't be hearing this.
Exactly. That's exactly it.
So I know that feeling.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Yeah, you just described it right there to a T. That's it.
Yeah. Question, this is Darren, by the way. Is there is there a documentary you want to film that you have not done yet?
There is, and it's something that's fairly interesting, but we need to make sure that Richard Estep is out of the room before I do that. No, I'm joking. all jokes aside, and Estep, damn it, you keep your mouth shut. But I've always been fascinated with the story of Billy the Kid.
Oh.
Specifically, you son of a bitch. I know he's already cooking up jokes in his brain right now, but listen, I know, like, there's 3 potential different gentlemen there's 3 different graves for Billy the Kid.
Is right? There?
Yes. And so there was different people that said they were Billy the Kid, they like these deathbed confessional type things. And it's always fascinated me ever since I was just a little dude. It's always fascinated me. I want to explore that more. I want to give like deep interviews with these people that claim to have known these gentlemen, and how believable are they?
Right.
All of that stuff, and it's not really paranormal, but it's spooky and weird at the same time. But
totally.
It's just like, it's one of those things that's just like, I have to make this film at some point.
Right.
And so, yeah. Okay. What did he say?
In all seriousness.
Okay. I went to Fort Sumter. I saw the door he was supposedly shot through. Brushy Bill Roberts' angle would make a great documentary. I think so too, brother. Honestly, I think so too. Fascinating stuff. And if you guys haven't looked into that, yes, Sumner. If you guys haven't looked into that stuff, please.
Oh yeah, that is fascinating.
Oh, fascinating.
I learned when, like, I had Kenny, either I was on Kenny's show or he came on mine. I can't remember which one it was, but we were talking and he was talking about Houdini, and I never knew Houdini was into the paranormal stuff, and and all that.
Yeah.
And then I learned about Mary Lincoln Todd and with that whole thing. Like, that's just interesting to me when people in history are, and again, not really, I mean, it's not paranormal, but it kind of, you know what I mean? Like it intertwines, right?
But it is. Yes. It's absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. And like, I love looking back at history, especially during like even that spiritualist movement, like in like the 19 teens, right? And like all of that, like it was a fascinating time. Yeah, dude. Yeah. Houdini was.
I learned so much from Kenny with that. I couldn't believe it. And you know what? It actually makes him more, all that stuff makes him more interesting than, I mean, I think it's fascinating what he could do, but I was like, holy shit.
But even like, learning about the man himself instead of just the things he could do on stage. Yeah. Like fascinating stuff. I love it. I've seen Josh has candles burning from his, you say, look, those are fake candles, Glidden. I've got a real one there beside me.
Oh, look at this.
I'd love to see you do something on the hunt for John Wilkes, but ooh.
Isn't it weird that I just brought up Megan?
That's exactly. That's interesting though. That's a good idea.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
Have you ever done anything in Gettysburg?
I've been to Gettysburg. I went to a paranormal convention there many, many moons ago. I forget even how long ago.
Phenomenology?
It may have been. I don't know. That was the first time I met like Dave Schrader and Chip Coffey and all those guys.
Yeah.
Man, it was so much fun. It was such a great time.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was just a great time.
So if you ever want to do anything there, and it doesn't even have to be a documentary, we could just investigate or do whatever.
Yeah.
I know that sounds better than the one I grew up in.
Yeah.
I love it. And I love it. I go out there by myself for a week.
That's so cool.
Just it's my heaven. Like, I love it.
Yeah.
I actually have the coordinates tattooed on my arm.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It is my serenity.
Oh, I love that.
Uh, so I just wanted to say that because I love doing stuff there.
Yeah.
Um, is there anyone in the paranormal field you would love to work with?
Boy, I tell you. Yeah, I mean, dozens, really. I mean, anybody with any form of idea that's just somewhat outside of the box, right? Like I would love to I would work with anyone um in regards to that. Um gosh, yeah. Like it's really cool like being able to meet the people I've met and work with the people I've worked with and all that stuff, and it's like you just keep making friends and all of that stuff. But yeah, Glidden, that son of a bitch. Like he was
He's
one of
gonna
the
be he's gonna be on the brew.
so Glidden is a lot of fun. Dave and I have done a few films together, and I'm telling you, like he's next level.
He's
And
coming on.
he's a great buddy. He's actually got a really cool event coming up October
Yes.
7th and 8th in Joplin, Missouri. And I'm super excited about that too, because I actually get to play music
When's he coming?
at that one. So yeah.
He's coming
That'll
on the 22nd.
Oh, perfect. So
He'll
there
be
you go.
on the show, yeah, and he's
Yeah.
gonna be promoting Haunted History Paracon.
Yep, exactly. Like, and I'm telling you, like Glidden, he's one of the best. He's one of the best. He's a good pal.
That's awesome. All right, hold on. Wait, did you answer the question, or was I being rude and
Oh, I don't know.
looking for my own answer?
Did I answer the question?
I
What was
think
the
it was.
question? Oh, who would I work with?
Right.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. I think I answered it.
Okay.
I think yeah. That's right. I answered it like a politician.
Right. Oh wait, we already asked that. I'm sorry, I didn't unstar it. I apologize. Do you publish your Tim Vickers? Do you publish your experiments findings?
Soon, Tim. Soon. I actually. So my friend Richard Estep, Sarah Stream, and myself have been working on something very fascinating for the last 18 months. And Richard's writing a book about it. I'm making a film out of it. But yes, like we are going to be sharing our findings and all that stuff with the community at large. So it should be interesting. So definitely stay tuned for that. It's obviously going to take us some time to correlate everything and get everything together, but soon.
That does take time.
It does.
I mean, I've heard people say when they've come on and they've talked about editing and doing this and doing that, like literally takes a year or more.
Yep.
And I know that to be true only because I by chance got pulled to the front row when Kevin Hart was in Philly doing his What Now movie for HBO.
That's awesome.
So I was pulled to the front. So I don't have a part in it, but I'm like in the movie like 3 or 4 times. They show me laughing. You know what I mean? But where the fuck was I going with that?
That's pretty freaking sweet, though.
But wait, where was I going with that?
I don't know. It's awesome.
They didn't say that.
It's a good story. I don't know.
I don't know why I was saying that. There was a point.
Awesome,
there was a point.
I'm sure there was a point somewhere in there. I like that. That's a good story.
It surely happens to me. I mean, only me.
It's a good story.
I'm like, wait, where was I going with that?
Oh my gosh.
I hate myself sometimes.
Okay.
Sometimes
we were talking about film. That's what we were talking about, editing process.
Oh yeah.
And probably how long it takes. Yeah.
So that the What Now didn't come out for almost 2 years.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I know I'm only going to be seen for like split seconds, but I'm like, I'm waiting for this shit to come out so I can see my face on TV.
Heck yeah. Absolutely.
It literally took forever.
That's cool though.
So let's say you were on reality TV after Death Walker with Nick Groff on Destination Fear Friday, just gone. What was it like working with Chelsea and Dakota?
I mean, I've known Dakota for a while anyway. They're great. I call them kids, you know what I mean? But they're great kids.
I did.
Brain fart.
One of many.
But yeah, like they're honestly like just very kind, very genuine kids, and we had a great time having them here, like hosting them. It was a good time. So, but yeah,
awesome.
Yeah, it was a very positive experience.
Let me see. Steven said, I'm only saying this because I go to Gettysburg every year since 2003. Usually get stuff. Yeah, me too.
Yeah. It's a
Oh,
very interesting town, and I'm a history freak anyway. So
oh,
yeah.
me too. You know, it fascinates me to be inside of a building that somebody was actually living life
Yes. Yes.
200 years ago. And they were like,
Exactly.
there's their bathroom. And like, they walked on these floors, you know, like
Exactly.
it's crazy to me.
That is exactly my thought process too. I'm like people lived here, people existed here, people
Yeah,
laughed here, loved here, cried here,
everything.
all of this stuff. And
I
and
mean, even back then, people died in their houses. They gave birth in their houses. They
yeah,
did everything,
yeah,
you know. I mean, like buried their families in their backyards, you know, like
exactly.
just. And I always, when I'm walking through, I'm always like, wow, I wonder if my house is going to be like
Yeah,
still standing in
right.
100, and somebody's going to be walking through it like this house has been here for, and thinking the same thing,
Exactly.
you know?
Exactly. But that's the cool part about paranormal investigating. It's like we have access to these really cool locations that the majority of people just don't have access to. We're given
Right.
access to weird ass attics and basements and crawl spaces and things like that. And the majority of the general public just is going to pass on that anyway, you know?
Right.
It's fascinating stuff, but that's the draw for me. I love that.
Me too. I love that too, especially when things can get validated. You know what I mean? Like when
Definitely.
you get EVPs or you get this or you get that, and then you fact check and go research and do your homework, and it's like you can validate some of the things that
Yeah.
you know. Um,
Um,
what was Nick working on? Destination?
so Destination Fear, like working on Destination Fear was it was a good experience. Don't get me wrong. It was something that I mean I got to experience with our pal Richard Estep and Johnny Hauser was here. Um, my buddy Jesse Alney was here. Like it was fun. It was difficult, like logistically setting it up because COVID was still a thing, at that time.
Mhm.
And they were the only show in the field, like working and doing this stuff during COVID. And so there was a lot of precautions that had to be put in place. Like, just even for an example, like their crew was split into 3 different groups. Now, that's normally not what happens,
Right.
but this B-roll crew is going to be shooting from this time to this time on this day, and this crew will be over here doing drone shots on this time at this time at this day, and blah blah blah. And so all of this stuff had to kind of orchestrate together. But it's like I spent 3 hours. I'm not exaggerating. 3 hours on the phone with their production company about bathrooms because we only have one working restroom in Malvern Manor, and that was an issue. Each team had to have their own restroom facility
Mhm.
because they're with themselves, and then that's, you know what I mean, that's their restroom. We know they're not contaminated. This group over here, they're not contaminated. They have to have their own
So
restroom, their own
ridiculous.
facility, and it was crazy. But yeah, we got there. We made it work. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And like it was just crazy. It was crazy, but worth it. I think, in the end, worth it.
Um, hold on one second. So I'm like trying to make sure I get to everybody's.
Oh yeah.
Uh, are you looking forward to G Crew Live in August and meeting me?
I am very much looking forward to meeting you, Katie. And yeah, so like August 13th, we're doing G Crew Live at Bobby Mackey's. So that will be fun. And then the following week after that, we'll be in New York and we will be premiering Deathwalker to the United States. So
Awesome.
Nick Groff's new show will be
Awesome.
premiering. So you'll probably see a couple familiar faces in that show, most
Yeah.
likely, because we were literally filming that show the same day that we were filming Destination Fear. So we were kind of back and forth all over.
Oh, there might be a crossover.
Not even really.
No.
Like, it was just a lot of travel back and forth.
Right. Right. Right.
Got to haul ass for call time. But yeah, like it was crazy.
Darren, question: have you ever? What is with him in this water deprivation lately? This is what he was.
It's fascinating. I have yet to actually try this. I
I would
want
never
to
try
try
that.
this. I want to try this. But yeah, like
Skipping,
I have not done it yet. Not
hard
yet.
pass for me. Hard pass.
Hard.
Hard pass. Nope.
Like, no way, moving on.
Mm-mm.
That's
What.
awesome.
That's what. Um. It's like one of my fears. You know what I mean? So there's no way I would ever do it. That's like somebody telling me go to a clown hotel. No,
Oh
no,
yeah, no. I'm not gonna
no.
do clowns or anything like
Why?
that. Katie, thank you so much, my dear.
That's like
Thank you.
that's a haunted that's like a horror movie waiting to happen. Me showing up to the freaking clown hotel. There's
Yeah,
no
that's
way.
just it. I don't do clowns. I hate dolls. I hate it. And like my buddies, they like to bust my chops as much as possible. Glidden, Estep, all those
But I'm
guys.
with you, no doubt. I
Yeah.
hate them.
Not a fan. Not a fan.
Kenny's such a good fan, such a good friend of mine that he's always posting stuff on with creepy dolls, and he's so nice to me.
Always just trying to bust your chops.
When is the next time you plan on doing some
Ooh.
squatching?
My first squatching experience was with David, and that's also been my last squatching experience. And I'm up for it again, my friend. If you want to hit the road at some point, you let me know, my friend. I will. I want to make that happen. So yeah. Oh. So I have been going like, okay. Richard likes to bust my chops too with all this because I do. I go to Michigan a lot and I film with Steve Shippey a lot. And so yeah, he's always asking, what's your next project with Shippey? And if you really want to know, my friend, you might see it in about 3 weeks. It'll probably be available. So there you go. Wise ass.
Wait a minute.
I love him, man. I love him.
Wait, did I unstart? Did I do this? Aliens, Bigfoot, other. Which is your favorite cryptid and why?
Ooh, not aliens. That's for sure. They scare me. I mean, Bigfoot certainly like fascinates me. The idea of Bigfoot fascinates me. The idea that it could be something interdimensional fascinates me. The idea that like we haven't found anything, you know what I mean? Like they're the hide and seek champion of the world or whatever. Like it's interesting to me. But there's numerous accounts out there that would suggest that this thing exists, right? And so it's just like, well, I want to see that definitive proof. Again, Bigfoot would have to come up and shake our hands in some fashion.
So funny. I shared a meme. It was either yesterday or today. It was like Bigfoot's face, and it said, "Feeling cute, might let somebody see me today." I don't know.
I don't know. See what happens.
And the face is just like, I don't know. So I was dying for like 10 minutes. I was like, this is the best one ever.
I love that stuff.
This is the best feeling cute one ever.
Oh my gosh.
All right. What I'm saying. 1912 Hoover House. That's an amazing place. I love it. And I'm not just saying that because two of my best friends own it and run it. It's
That's
just
cool.
It's really a beautiful place and an awesome place. A lot of people have been there already.
That's awesome.
Hoover House in Gettysburg. Well, it's near Gettysburg. It's 35 minutes from Gettysburg. Yeah, it's in Waynesboro.
Sure.
But it's great.
I mean,
it's a great place to go.
That's awesome. I'll definitely check that out.
Let me see here. Kenny was asking, do you mean sensory deprivation in a pod?
Right, in a pod fill, or with inches of water. See, I haven't tried that. Now
the floating thing I would do, but I'm not going underwater and holding.
Oh no, absolutely not. No, I have done sensory deprivation, certainly. But I have not done the water stuff yet. Not yet.
Hi, hunters of the paranormal. Thank you for joining us. Have you ever ghost hunted in a junkyard around cars that have been in bad accidents? Oh, that's interesting. I never even.
Very interesting question. I have not. I have not, but I mean, that's certainly something I would entertain for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, wow. I never even thought of that. I mean, most people would say you go to the site of the crash or but
sure, of course.
Yeah, what if?
But it's like, I mean, you think about like the cars or whatever, like, I mean, some of us are really attached to our cars, that's our baby, right? And like there could be that emotional significance tied to that car as well. That's a great idea, guys.
Yeah.
So here, I kissed the dog. We were doing a fundraiser for a friend of mine that just got diagnosed with breast cancer. And so we were doing a fundraiser for her. And yeah, like it raised, I think, an extra $80 because I kissed the doll. So I was happy to do it that time. And then I mailed the doll off so I could be done with it.
I would have never done it. I'd be like, this doll's gonna come haunt me now because my lips start,
Sorry,
you know,
not doing it. Yeah.
another hard pass.
No way, man. Oh, it's funny.
Darren says, I think Bigfoot is another form of an alien.
I mean, it's quite possible.
But they all, I mean, everything's under the same umbrella, I believe. It's just all,
You know,
sometimes
go ahead. I'm sorry. I interrupted.
I was gonna say, like, sometimes I feel like, since the mind is such a powerful thing, like, are we experiencing the same thing, but your perception of it, and this is just an example, your perception of it is you just see a Bigfoot. My perception is that it's a shadow figure, or it's this, or it's that.
Can I tell you something? Like, seriously, that thought right there has haunted me ever since I was in 2nd grade. I got in a fight with one of my friends who was the smartest kid in class, the valedictorian. In 2nd grade, I got sent to the office because him and I were just at each other's throats. He wasn't grasping what I was asking.
Right.
But I said, what color is this? He said, it's orange. And I go, but how do you know that?
Right.
I'm like, what if I see it, it's black? I'm like, I've just been taught that it's orange.
Right.
I've just been conditioned
labeled
in some way.
Yes. As humans, we have to have labels for everything.
So it's the same thing with, like, I could take out a bill out of my wallet. I could take out a few of them, close my eyes, and not tell you which one is a 5, a 10, 100, whatever. Mm-hmm. What tells me that this piece of whatever is worth $100? Well, it's the number printed on there. That's the only thing that's giving us that information. Right, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's weird. It's shit like that tied my head. But again, like, him and I were at each other's throats, and I was in 2nd grade asking that question. Like, he's like, you son of a bitch, you're not getting what I'm asking.
Yeah, and it's
orange to you might be green to me, or whatever. I don't know. Right. It's like that gold and white and blue and black dress that was going around the internet for God knows how long. You remember that? All that weird stuff.
Yeah.
Like, oh, do you see gold and white, or do you see black and
oh yeah, and blue? Then do you hear Yanni? Do you hear Lori?
Yes,
Laura?
Yes, yeah. All of these weird things. It's like, guys, yeah, it's weird like that.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, and it's such a fucked up question because it'll never be answered. How can we ever answer that question?
You can't.
How can you ever answer that question?
You can't. Like, there's no way.
Like, oh, I just saw Slimer, and I'm like, no, that wasn't Slimer. Like, I just saw, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I just saw, whatever.
Yeah.
Like we and it's the same thing with it's all about perception, I think, and I think that the mind is such a powerful thing that it'll allow you to feel and see and go through things, even your body changes and stuff.
Yes.
If you think too hard, so it's like,
yes.
So, and then I even go even deeper, and I hate myself because I love EVPs and I love all that stuff. But I'm like, is that my mind, like, putting the answer out? You know what I mean? Like, right. I go through these things all the time, and then then I get a reality check when I'm at work and I'm not even thinking about it, and I'm getting ready to leave. I'm the only one in there, and I hear a woman loud as day say, "What is this place?" right next to me.
Wow.
And I was like, 1,000%, I was the only one in the building.
Right.
1,000%. That's what I heard.
I think I honestly, like, and I've thought this for a while, right? And this is going to sound stupid probably, but just go with me for a minute. Okay. So I have always thought, like, I've always heard this thing, right? We all have, like, oh, you only use about 10% of your brain power anyway. Right. And I consider that to be like, 10% of, like, potential energy, right? What we consider potential energy. So, out of your wallet, it's that's not awkward. That's just a Tuesday, right? But anyway, so if we only use about 10%, give or take, or whatever, of our potential brain power, whatever, it's always been a thought to me. Mm-hmm. What if we were given 100% access of just this power, of this brain power? We wouldn't need a body. We wouldn't need a shell. What would we be? We would just be concentrated, free-floating energy, which coincidentally is also what we are roaming around, our geekometers that we use on a daily basis. We are looking for what? disembodied pockets of like free floating energy, right? So again, this is going to sound dumb. Go with me on it just for a minute.
Yeah.
But what happens then if maybe during the process of a body expiring, the dying process, that we are then given access to the remaining 90, give or some odd percent, right? And we become that. Then in lies the soul, the chi, the whatever the F you want to call it.
Right.
And you become this free floating version of energy, right? Which again is also what we are, you know, looking for in the dark and, you know, all these creepy, weird ass fucking places. But is it possible then that that's what's happening? That is the chi. It is kind of a weird thing because we're talking about the brain. Or are we talking about consciousness, which we can't necessarily define? So I don't know. But these are the weird thoughts that I go through, right? These are the thought processes that I go through. But so, I mean,
3 o'clock in the morning, I can't sleep, and shit, just this kind of shit goes through my head.
Exactly. That's why I have these terrible bags around my eyes. It's
all right, good. So then the next time I have a crazy thought, I'm joining you in my misery.
That's perfect then. That's perfect. Reach out and be like, look, Mama Jamma, I know you're up.
I just thought about this.
I know you're up, and I know you're thinking about crazy shit too. So let's just go down this tangent together, shall we?
A year later, you're blocking me from everything.
Right. I'd be like, no more. Listen, no
I can't.
more.
My world is fucked now.
Oh my God.
Malvern Manor side, what are your favorite items?
Oh man, yeah. Like I'm biased as hell, but I mean Villisca, like by far. Farrar is a great place to go visit as well. Of course, Edinburgh Manor or Edinburgh Manor, excuse me. But like, I mean, all the big places. The Squirrel Cage Jail in Council Bluffs, it's like 30 minutes away from me. You know, it's a great place. Like all of these places have such rich, deep history with them, and it's like that's the money stuff for me. Like I love that shit right there. So yeah.
I like all the old school, like the Civil War towns and the you know, all that stuff. I love all those types of places.
Definitely. Yeah.
I do want to go to like Tombstone and go to
love that.
Go play, because I kind of am interested in like the whole Wild West, you know what I mean, stuff too, you know. I would love to go to
fascinating part of our American history, right? It's just like the Wild West, you know.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you, dude from Texas.
Thank you, dude from Texas. I love that.
He's awesome.
Love that.
He's a good guy. He's
that
great.
Is awesome.
Yeah. So Kenny said that is a confirmed myth.
It is a confirmed myth, right? Like that's what I'm saying. Like that's just what people say, right? That's just all that bullshit that people throw at us all the time. It's like, oh yeah, okay, that's cute, but it's like, yeah, I still think there's something going on there.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, like honestly, I mean, and then the world is like, I'm happy for my paranormal little bubble, because everything else outside is just like insane. Like like we always say, oh, there's paranormal drama. Like there's always drama in the paranormal.
Yeah, there is. Sure, but I mean, Christ, have you turned on the news lately? Like,
right? Like in the paranormal fields, he said, she said, block this one, block that one. Ooh, don't be friends with it. Oh my God, you know. But on the outside world, it's insane.
Yeah, it's absolutely.
I'm gonna stay in this bubble. Listen, I'll deal with the drama.
Yep, exactly. You know? Like, I just stay away from the drama anyway. I don't get involved. Like I just don't.
Yeah, me neither. I always try to avoid it.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. But yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I think I might have missed something. She said we both shaved our heads for our friend.
Oh yeah, for Jenna when we were doing the fundraiser.
Richard said, I think the studies found that we only understand 10%.
Maybe that's it. And maybe that's it. Yeah, for now. And that's a good point too, you know, for now. The fuck. This is why I love you guys. Gosh dang. It's like, wait a second, what did I miss? There's drama? Wait a second, what?
No, not in the paranormal. It's all about para unity.
Really not. Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. Have you ever been to McPike Mansion in Alton, Illinois? I got the Whistling Ghost in the cellar on my
Oh,
EVP.
that's cool. No, I've only driven by. That's all. Like I've never actually been inside. But yeah, that's definitely on the list.
See, and on the East Coast here, you know, and I'm having, I've ventured onto the West Coast of having guests on and stuff like so.
Sure.
All these places are familiar. I've heard them from a lot of people that I've become friends with now, or
Oh yeah.
been on the show and stuff. So now I'm like hearing about all these cool places, and I'm like, see, I thought we had cool shit on the East Coast. Like, what the heck? But
Sure,
it's just
yeah.
uncharted territory, right?
Right.
It's like, oh, I haven't been there. I mean, how many times have I been to Eastern State? How many times have I been to Penhurst? How many times have I been, right? And it's like, they're all magnificent places. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
it's like the new shiny penny. You're like, oh,
yeah.
no
doubt.
How come they have all the cool stuff there? And
Yeah.
and like in the UK and shit, and like Ireland and stuff.
Oh my God. Yeah, one place that I want to go, like I have to get to is a place called Chillingham Castle. That's over in the UK as well. Check that crap out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Such cool places.
Jesus.
Right?
Oh my God.
So here, where in the UK would you like to investigate? We're psychic.
There you go.
We knew you were going to ask.
Saw that coming. Saw that coming, Katie. Tell your friends. I'm now a psychic.
Now you're a psychic medium.
I'm a psychic medium. Watch what I do. Watch what
my God, this is gonna be right. Now this is how rumors get started, right?
That's fair too. God damn it. So we just talked about paradrama. Here we go.
Yep.
Did you see what that asshole Josh Hurd said tonight on the brew? Damn. Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Mama Two Books. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you think most apparitions are seen with the naked eye or perceived in some other manner?
It's interesting, right? Like,
yeah,
I've seen things I can say with my naked eye. However, I was also by myself, right? So if you were standing next to me, Richard, would you have experienced the same thing I did?
Exactly.
Like, would you have experienced the same thing I did? I don't know.
At all.
Like, it's weird.
I mean, I was in Gettysburg and I saw again, this is what happens to me because I don't see I see very little. I'm more clairaudient, so I can hear things.
Yeah.
Not all the time, but a lot of the times.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know what I was looking at. I thought it was like juniper bushes. And if you know anything about juniper bushes, like you can't even put your hand through it without, there's no real whatever. But
sure.
I look over and I see this black thing inside it. And at first my brain's like, how is there a bird? Like that's a bird flying inside the juniper bush. And then I'm thinking, wait a minute, a bird couldn't fly inside of that bush. And then I'm like, the bush isn't even moving. What is that?
Huh.
And then it was over with.
Yeah. Then it's
so
done.
Afterwards, as I'm like going through, I'm like, holy shit, what did I just see?
That's crazy.
Like, that was my perception. Like I know, and I had 2 cameras hanging around here. I had all this stuff going on. I'm just like staring like this.
Wow.
What am I looking at?
Wow.
So I didn't capture anything. And there was somebody there. Didn't see a thing.
Oh.
Didn't see anything.
See, that's fascinating too then. Weird.
Yeah. So how's that happen? Also, really quick, I'll tell very quickly.
Sure.
On an investigation at Kreischer Mansion in New York. And I always leave my recorder going the whole time. They were using, the people I was with had a recorder doing the EVP burst. So the first time I'm listening back on my audio, we get to the EVP burst, the original one. Somebody asks, what was the family business? You don't hear anything.
Mm-hmm.
We were hearing other EVPs in this session. So we kept on rewinding it to listen to the EVPs we just heard. We were bound to that question, like before that question, like 2 more times. That's the second time that we were listening to it. There was an answer on my recorder that was going the whole entire time. It said factory work.
Oh, wow.
And then one more time it got played. There was no answer.
Mm-hmm.
I jumped because I was live on Facebook and YouTube and everything as well. I go on there. It wasn't caught on the live.
Yeah. Yeah.
If that was anybody in the room, it would have been caught everywhere. it wasn't even caught on the recorder that did the EVP burst because we didn't hear it.
Wow.
It was just that only time. And to me, that I want somebody to try to explain that to me. I don't understand it.
That's interesting though.
I don't understand it.
Very interesting.
So again, I think it's I don't know. That just kind of I'm like, I can't. I have to sit on this, just like we're sitting on. I'm gonna have to sit on that story you told me about the woman and house swap it. Like, it's just,
oh yeah,
that's so.
That's weird too. Like the ley line question, right? Because like
I just learned about this.
So it's weird too to me because I've thought, oh sure, like this could potentially be like the antecedent of a haunting or potential activity, right? But at the same time, then I've looked at different maps or whatever, and nothing seems to correlate. So I'm like, which is the right map? Like, where's the actual ley line if it is such a thing, or they do in fact exist? Where
I feel like they do. I feel like I just had somebody on that were talking about ley lines, and they said that there are ley lines.
Sure, of course, but it's like, what's definitive? Like, that's what I would be interested in seeing and studying and all of that is. But yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. So I have to give a shout out to Jing. She's from Indonesia, and she's a very loyal Paranormal Brew watcher. She's always on, and she always makes sure you're gonna have a new fan.
That's awesome.
Because she follows everybody. She's awesome.
That's cool.
Which movie did you enjoy making the most?
Ooh.
He really loves you.
He does love me. Like, Richard has become like the brother from another mother. You know what I mean?
Awesome.
Like, he really.
That's great to find those people.
It really truly is.
I have my peaches.
Crazy. It's crazy. It's good stuff. Yeah, but Brush with Evil 1 will always have a special place in my heart, but A Brush with Evil 2 is the most fun to make. Yeah.
Do you ever feel like you experience activity more than others? If so, do you think it has something to do with being in Malvern? And I do.
Yeah. I mean, probably. Because, I mean, yeah, like, it's weird, too, to me, because, like, we'll have people that come in here and they're like, I always ask, like, oh, how was your night? Like, the next morning, right?
Yeah, no, that's great.
Like,
that's awesome.
Yeah, and like, I'm just genuinely, like, curious, right? And they'll say things like, oh, like, it was a pretty quiet night. We had a couple doors slam. We got a lot of EVPs. This ball was rolling around on its own, and this and that happened. Or what? I'm like, Jesus Christ! I'm like,
how's that quiet?
I know, like, that's my point. I was like,
what do they want?
Described like a month's worth of stuff that just happened in an 8, 9, 10-hour period. But okay, like, it's weird to me. But yeah, I mean, maybe, Dave, like, maybe.
I think so. I mean, I think sometimes, I'm not even going to lie. Sometimes I'm on my couch, and if I'm watching, like, if I'm binging Ghost Hunters or something like that, and all this stuff, I'm like, someone's going to hear a question in my house, and like, it's on the TV, but it's going. What if there's an answer?
Right.
I'm out. I mean,
sorry.
The house is yours, man.
Oh my God. Like, I love my house so much. Get out. It's like, God, I can't stay. Sorry. I gotta go.
Enjoy. Yeah. The cats eat twice a day.
Oh my freaking God. I love that though.
The catacombs. Yeah, catacombs would be cool.
That would be cool. That would be cool.
I feel like I heard there's catacombs somewhere in the United. Where was that? See, this is what happens. I know I hear stuff, and then I just can't remember half. I remember half. I'm a half rememberer.
I totally feel that.
So really quick, I mean, you did say some stuff was coming up. You did have a couple of stuff coming up and everything, but where can people find you? And somebody had mentioned where do you go live? You do live stuff?
I do a lot of stuff on Patreon. Yeah, like, Patreon is kind of my fun stuff, right? So it's like, I'll do different experiments. I'll make videos and put them out. I'll do live stuff, put those out. I'll sit here and play a video game live on Patreon. You know what I mean? Just whatever. Um, but yeah. And that's it. So I mean, it's just like if you went to like joshhurd.net, that's kind of the one-stop shop. It'll take you to all things like the books, the films, the Patreon page, the G Crew stuff, and Malvern Manor stuff, all that stuff. Thanks, Richard, my friend. Thank you. But I mean, yeah, joshhurd.net is kind of like the one-stop shop that'll just take you different avenues. So yeah.
Fun avenues.
Yeah. And I mean, and that's just it. So it's like I did the Patreon thing and I was like, oh, okay. So I was like, for $3 a month, like it's cheaper than a cup of coffee.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like we can just have fun and we can just talk shop and we can just do all sorts of fun stuff,
Yeah.
And I introduce people to a lot of different people that I'm involved with and all of that fun jazz. And I mean, they get to go with me on, different paranormal investigations and all that fun jazz. We do a appreciation night once a year as well. I just have any Patreon member that can make it can just come to Malvern Manor and it's on me. You know what I mean? Like just get here and we'll have fun. We'll investigate, we'll talk shop, and we'll just have fun as a group.
I love hearing like people. I hope, for lack of better description or words, I'm just going to say it this way, but I don't really mean it as harsh, but people in your position that you give back because you don't forget where you came from. Right. So you once were that thriving enthusiast paranormal investigator that had to pay everywhere to get into, that had to like fight your way in places. You know what I mean? So the fact that you give back, the good positive comes back to you.
Yeah, I get like it's weird, I guess, right? Like I don't know. I've never considered myself like that level. You know what I'm saying? Like that. I don't know. Like I have a very hard time with that. Like wrapping my head around that.
I get that.
When people come up to me and they're like, "Oh, hey, I liked your film." I'm like, "Awesome, that's great." And like, "Can I have your autograph?" I'm like, "Why?" Like, "Oh, don't ruin it." What? Like, no. Like, yeah, I'll sign your shit. But it's like, what? It's weird. But yeah, so I mean, it's a weird thing. But I appreciate you saying that. Like, I just like to have fun, and I look at the Patreon people as just like weird family. You know what I mean? And so we just hang out and we just have fun and we talk shop and we just entertain different weird theories and ideas and all of that. But
I've just started recently hearing about this Patreon thing, but
it's a really cool.
Yeah, cool, I hear it is. I hear it's cool, but I think somebody said that to like follow people, you have like it's individual. Like you're not paying for a subscription to this Patreon thing. You're paying for each person's individual page. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So to speak, right? That's how it works.
Yep, exactly. So, and it's like, and some creators, I mean, artists and musicians and all sorts of stuff, and they're like, oh yeah, for $5-10 or whatever it is a month, you get X, Y, and Z.
Right.
Like it's really kind of cool. But
that is cool.
Some people are only posting like once a month. I try to post at least a couple times a week, and do things like that and just keep the conversation going in some ways.
Yeah. Well, and then you also are making people feel like, okay, yeah, they might be paying $3 a month, but at least they're getting something out of it,
Definitely. So another thing that we do also like on Patreon is people will sit there and I do a screen sharing and things like that. And so people will watch me edit films.
Oh, that's cool.
And so people that are interested in filmmaking and all that can really deep dive in and see the process and listen to me cuss and bitch and moan and complain about all of it because it's terrible. And we always ask myself, I'm never making another film. And here comes 3 more, whatever.
Yeah. Nope, I totally get it. Hunters of the Paranormal, in the beginning, we did answer. We were saying how we would smell cologne and stuff like that. Yeah. So we have experienced smells for sure.
Definitely. Yeah.
What do you think of Mothman?
Yeah. Mothman has always been one of those stories that has fascinated me as well. I mean, shit, like I think anything is possible, really. Like I really do. I think anything is possible. Um, I again, like I would
Yeah.
love to meet him. You know what I mean? I'd love to shake his hand. Oh,
Well, and
thank
that's
you,
the
Katie.
thing. So it's funny they bring up that person brought up Mothman because those phone calls that were recorded, it
Yeah.
all remember when he
Indrid
in the
Cold.
movie he
Yes.
was getting those phone
The
calls.
phone calls from Indrid Cold. Yes.
Ugh, it
Yes.
was. I'm telling you, if you get a chance to go onto Justin Banforth's page, it's
Yeah.
normalparanormal.org or something like that. You
Um,
you have to. I'm getting chills. I don't know why, but you have to listen to those phone calls.
I can't wait
Four
to
of
hear
them.
that stuff though.
There's 4 of them,
There's 4 of them. Okay. Okay.
and they're like 3 minutes long.
Wow.
And Justin actually has the transcripts in case it's hard to, you can't understand, but most of them you
Smart.
can understand. Most of them you can. It's
Yeah.
just that the lingo, the way things are said, and this is back in the late 80s. So it's not like,
Oh, sure. Yeah.
so this was recorded with like I think he said like the old answer machine record, like somehow I can't remember how he said that they recorded it, but it was recorded late 80s. Oh, tape recorders were around then, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? But
Definitely.
somehow so it was got recorded. The phone calls are there, and it's so creepy.
Oh, I can't wait to hear that. That's fascinating stuff, though.
Um,
Wow.
did I say? Oh yeah, we already did this, but that's what it reminded me of. That Mothman, the calls. Did you ever get Illuminati?
No, I never did. I never did. Sadly, I never did.
Well, now I know you want it. I'll send you one.
Do you see what my friends do with me?
I love it. It's you though.
It is all in good fun. I
It's
understand.
brotherly love.
It is love for sure. Like it's totally love. I get it.
Thank you, Katie, for
Yes,
sharing
thank
that.
you for that, Katie. I appreciate that.
And she shared this one as well.
oldjoshhurd.net. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Katie. I appreciate that too. That's very kind.
Do you know that I have had you like an hour and a half now?
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's been fun though. It's been fun.
Yeah, it has been. I hope you will come on again.
Anytime. Seriously.
And we'll do it earlier next time because what time is it there?
It's 11:10 right now. It's
Okay.
11:11.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because unfortunately I know like this was a little bit later than what we had originally planned,
Yeah. But I mean,
life happens. But I am so appreciative of you being so flexible and so
yeah. No, we got it. We got it done, right?
Yeah,
it was great.
You did
It was
awesome.
a lot of fun. Yeah,
it was
a lot
fun.
of fun. But thank
you to everybody that was in and joined us, and we would love to spend a week at Malvern.
Kim, like come on. Kim, you know this. Like you just show up. Let's do this. A week. Let's find you a week and let's just do it.
Yeah, that would be cool.
That would be awesome. Like that would be awesome.
And I'm telling you, I do think the more you're at a location, because like I go to this one inn all the time, and the more I go in Gettysburg, I go to this one of the same inn, and the stuff that happens there becomes louder, or the activity becomes more like, hey, I'm here. And I just think you just start to resonate, and your energy's vibe, and just like I walk in now and I'm like, I'm home. Hey.
Yep. And as much as you're getting used to that location is getting used to you, and then you can really start the interaction. It's crazy. Yeah. I love that. Morning from the UK. Yeah.
Works for me.
I love it, Kim. That's great. I love it.
But yeah, so I had fun. This was a really good show. It was very refreshing. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. This is great. Like anytime.
And hopefully one day I make it out there, out on that side of the country. And, I can hit up, and stop by and say hi and, stop at all these places,
Yes.
I was originally was going to have a chance to go to Randolph County.
Yeah.
And I was going to do it, but it like butts up against with the Warrens Paracon. So it was like October 27th, 8th, 9th. And then I would have had to been in at Randolph like on the 30th.
Oh God.
12 hours from where I
Yeah.
was going to be. So I'd be like 9 hours driving to there, 12 hours there, 12 hours home, like on November. I had to smash both of them together. I'm like,
It'll be fine. Like,
I'm going to be like, driving there with like coffee and cigarettes and
oh God, yes,
oh, I
absolutely.
don't smoke. Why did I say cigarettes?
Hey, why not?
Because I would be like out of my mind. I'd be like just
Keeps
wired.
you awake. Yeah.
I would show up like Brad Pitt was in Fight Club with like the road like this all messed up and beat up and
That'd be awesome. Oh my God.
But yeah, so I thank you. Everybody said it was a great show. It was. This was
That's
really, really awesome.
It was fun.
And I hope you come back on again sometime.
Yeah, I would absolutely love that. Thank you.
Yeah, I think we have fun. And anytime you want to come on.
Awesome.
Even if I'm on with somebody else, you always bum rush it.
I just
Remember,
just like I'm taking over.
there's a certain person coming on June 22nd.
I'm sure I'll be in the chat. I'll be in the chat for sure. Because why not?
Because why not?
Yeah, exactly.
You were great, Josh.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dave.
Kiss ass.
Oh my
all right,
goodness. So I guess we have to say goodnight. Everybody keeps saying awesome stuff. I keep sharing it, and then we're gonna be here all night. So
yeah, I hear you.
You know, Randolph and for me. Yeah, I haven't been yet. It's a bucket list thing.
Heck yeah.
All right, so we're gonna say goodnight to everybody. Thank you so much. I will have Josh on again. Everybody can join us again. Josh, you're awesome.
Oh, thank you.
And thank you everybody for watching Paranormal Brew. And we will see you Wednesday.